Dirty Sports Podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from New York, sitting in a throne.
That's right.
Joey, no chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Look at that setup.
I know, this is great. Shout out to the folks here at the Wits Studios in New York City. I told a friend I needed to record the podcast today. He's like, where are you recording from? And I was like, probably just my hotel bed. And he's like, no, come on down. We got a studio. So shout out to the folks here at Wits and the folks at the Stand Comedy Club in New York for having me. And then they were like, does this chair work for you? And I was like, no chair has ever worked better for me. I feel like this is what LeBron sits in to get his hair cut.
Which probably takes 3 seconds, right?
Right.
At this point for LeBron.
This is the chair LeBron sits in when they paint his hair on. The way, I was at Fanatics Fest all weekend. They had the shop. They had the LeBron barbershop. They were cutting people's hair at Fanatics Fest.
How much did that cost?
I don't know.
$400.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably didn't have a chance to listen. I was busting your balls a little. I was Justin. I was like, what's Prano really doing down there? It's a little top secret.
Oh, it wasn't even it was top secret. I think it was top secret when we first talked about it because I didn't really know what I was going to be doing. But it turns out I worked for the Topps baseball card company, obviously very important to both of our childhoods, I'm sure. And they had a whole installation. Fanatics Fest is wild. Fanatics Fest is like the card show you went to when you were a kid on steroids. They had everybody was there signing and doing meet and greets and all these things. And then also all these installations, like the UFC had an octagon there where you could like grapple with your friends. And then, the NBA you go around the world shooting the 3-pointers. Anyway, Topps had a really, really cool setup, and they had like a baseball field and lockers where they played this locker game, and they had a concession stand where you bought your cards, and they had a jumbotron. And basically I just made content to go on the jumbotron. So we did like a lot of the man on the street questions. Tell us what you're wearing. You want to answer some trivia, win some cards, doing bits, doing man on the street all around the Javits Center. And then it was just airing on the Topps jumbotron.
Gotcha. And you worked how many days did you do that?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Long days with lots of card nerds and lots of wrestling nerds. Dude, cards are a whole different thing than when we were a kid.
What do you mean?
I mean, there's 12-year-olds, no joke, walking around with briefcases that lock that you'd see like a villain in a Schwarzenegger movie carry around like nuclear codes in.
That's hilarious.
It's handcuffed to their arm, and they crack it open, and they got thousands of dollars worth of cards in there. And you're like, you a pretty big collector? Yeah, I'm here. I'm looking for the Wembanyama rookie refractor, Jim Ment 10. And you're like, oh, okay. Like,
well, I mean, there was a lot of clips on social from it.
Yeah.
The Burrow one is what everybody was talking about.
Burrow unable to throw a baseball.
Did you see it?
Yeah, but we should show it to people.
Let's pull it up here. Why does this do this? Hold on 1 second. Sorry, that's my mess up. All right, let's pull it back up. All right, here we are. All right, Burrow attempting to throw, and he does multiple attempts.
Oh, he took like 15 days.
Stops.
And it's the same miss every time. Missing left every time.
What do you think that is?
Well, I think for one, he's obviously throwing it like a football.
That's what I'm saying. He's throwing it just like a football.
But also, I had a high school baseball coach, or like an AAU baseball coach when I was in high school, and anytime any of the players would do like the same thing over and over, it would just break him. My coach would always go, make an adjustment. Like how does Burrow throw 15 of them before he's like, hey, maybe I just aim right. Like miss right, dude. You're just gonna miss left over like 40 times.
And then he did the one that was decent, and then he goes right back to the left.
Right back to missing left. I had a kid. It's funny. I'll promote this little thing I did in a minute. But when I was coaching high school ball here in New York City, we had one kid who just every time he was out in front of everything, ground out to third base every time, ground out to third base, rolling over early, grounding out to third base. And I was like, bro, you have literally one shot or I'm benching you because you can't get a fucking hit. And he's like, okay, what do you want me to do? I go, here's what you need to do. I need you to foul the ball off into their dugout. I need you to be so late that you hit somebody standing in their on deck circle. And he's like, what? And I was like, you in this at bat, if you are not so late that the ball is fouled into their dugout, I'm benching you. And he was just like, and he tried to wait and he tried to wait and he tried to wait and he still didn't hit it foul, but he hit it right down the right field line for a triple. And I was like, you just got to sit back and wait, make an adjustment. Joe Burrow is a professional Joe Burrow was one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. He threw 40 baseballs before he was like, maybe aim right. He still really didn't in the end.
No. Everybody felt the pressure. Everybody's watching.
I know, but that, I'm not sure how I hate to get Justin all riled up, but I'm not sure your quarterback has what it takes. I'm not sure it doesn't seem like you have that Eli Manning gene. If like a couple of nerds with their baseball cards pointing their iPhones at you gets you too nervous to throw a baseball.
Well, to be fair, I mean, he's won a Heisman. He won a title in college.
Yeah, Andy, that's college.
I know.
This was Fanatics Fest. This is the next level. This is the next level of important.
I was gonna say, I think he's got the clutch gene. I think.
Yeah. Well, Derek, the 11-year-old from New Jersey that took that video, disagrees with you.
I did see the one of I also saw the video of Tom Brady going out and then ripping up Eli's jersey and then Eli coming out.
Yeah.
So like
we had Tom Brady at the Topps booth for a minute. Tom Brady is looking real skinny. I don't know what Tom Brady's on. Tom Brady on the vegan diet or something like that. Tom Brady needs to mix in some protein shakes.
I was thinking that when I saw that video.
Yeah. Tom Brady's looking a little skeletal at this point. I think he took I know Giselle left him, but it seems like she left her cookbook behind.
I think he's one of those guys. He wants to live to be 100.
Yeah.
Like he's going to do his entire day is planned out as far as eating, sleeping, exercise, the stuff.
And he knows the typical people who live to be over 100 are small Asian women. So he's like, I'm just going to eat whatever they're eating. I'm going to dress. I'm going to try to get the physique of a small Asian woman.
Bro, there's multiple Chinese families in my neighborhood, and the one woman, I mean, this is why they live. I see her. I'm like, this is so impressive. She goes out with a walker. She might be 100 years old. I don't know. Dude, she goes down the neighborhood, and I'm like, she's not moving fast. She's literally one tooth. And I'm like, and her daughter will go with her. I'm like, this is why you guys live to be 100.
Yeah.
Like you're still, and then her husband, they're still like, they still make sure that they get outside every day to exercise. Every single day.
Not like the rest of you guys in the Midwest. You're like straight from the garage to the Applebee's, back to the garage.
That's some Midwesterners. That's not Andy Ruther anymore. I'm back on the beach workout. Without the beach.
I talked about it before. I was talking about when I coached high school baseball. I just want to do one quick plug. If you guys are not following the Trackstar show on Instagram or TikTok, follow it. It is hosted by one of my other former players when I coached baseball here in New York, and I just did it this morning. So Joe Prano will be appearing on the Trackstar show in the near future, and I don't want to give away what happened, but have you seen this show? Do you know what it is?
No.
It's like it's probably come across your feed at some point. He puts headphones on you and he's like, name the artist, you win $5. And if you can name the artist, you win $5. You can keep going and it becomes 10. You can keep going, it becomes 20, etc. And until you lose, and then you give all the money back. Or, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style, you can stop and give the money. So I said I wanted to do it for charity and give some of the money to Alzheimer's for my dad. And we did it today. And I won't spoil how far I made it or if I failed in the end, but give it a watch. Subscribe now so you don't miss it. They had Javier Bardem on today's episode.
So this is I'm looking at Instagram. Is this just Trackstar show?
Yeah. At Trackstar, I think is probably
It's Trackstar show on Instagram.
Okay, great. Trackstar show. So give it a follow on Instagram or TikTok. So the guy who hosted was also one of my former players.
Jack Coyne?
Yeah.
It's a good name.
Yeah, it's a great name.
So that's a good name to host something. That's a total.
And they've had tons of people on. He had, like I said, he had Javier Bardem on. They had Kamala on. They had RZA on. I told him today, I go, when you had RZA on, I was like a proud dad. I was like, we made it, fam. And I was like, I'm not even involved. But I was like, we made it.
So like, how many questions do you get asked?
You can keep going. Like it goes from $5 to $10 to $20 to $40 to $80 to $160 to $320. You can keep going until you're like, I think the record's like $6,000 or something like that. So that's like 12 questions or something like that.
Yeah.
And that guy tapped out and took the money. But also, you lose, you give it all back.
It's a good little premise.
I told him I was like, just so you know, I'm doing this for charity. So I'm not saying take it easy on me, but also take it easy on me.
So how long has he been doing that?
A couple of years.
It's a good premise.
Yeah. So give it a follow, and you'll see me on there in the next couple of days.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Okay.
I mean, I got a couple questions right. I'll spoil that. I didn't go out, but I told him, I was like, I'm nervous. I go, what if you play my favorite artist of all time and I just Joe Burrow it and just totally fail? Like, what if he's like, bro, that was Where the Streets Have No Name by U2, and I just have a total meltdown, just a total choke. But luckily, I didn't choke right out of the gate. So that's good.
Here's a spoiler. The Oklahoma City Thunder are the NBA champs.
Yeah. I'll tell you who did a little choke was Halliburton's Achilles, right? Oof.
You hate to see it.
We hate to see it. I take no pleasure as a Knicks fan. We don't root for injuries. We don't root for injuries around here.
It does suck. It really does.
Yeah.
I sense your sarcasm.
No, but I mean, no sarcasm in that we don't root for injuries. But.
Well, I mean, just, he obviously had a good start.
Yeah.
You knew, even though they were up by 1.5, I'm like, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable, especially when they're turning the ball over that much.
Oklahoma City, I mean, in this series, it just feels like, do you remember when the Warriors were doing their thing and they'd always come out in the third quarter and have these these offensive explosions?
Yeah,
they used to dominate people. It almost just feels like it's the same thing with Oklahoma City, but on defense. Like the second half would start in all these games and they would just be like a different defensive team. And you're going into halftime, oh, it's a 2-point game or whatever. And next thing you know, it's 15 and they're just ripping steals and getting transition baskets. And, you got to give a ton of credit to the Indiana Pacers for making a finals no one thought they would make, taking the Thunder to a game 7, losing their best player in said game 7, and still putting up a fight all the way to the end. I mean, it wasn't a 12-point. The score was closer than it really was in the end. It's probably more of a 20-point loss, but you kept it close for 6.5 games.
Yeah, they did. I mean, that's the thing. They battled that's the thing. They battled to the very end, even when they were getting their ass kicked.
Yeah.
It just sucks because, I don't ever want to take anything away from the team that wins because they're not in control of an injury like that. It just stinks that it has to happen in a game 7,
Right.
and then you're left with these what ifs. Just from a viewing standpoint, from an entertainment standpoint, it just stinks because you're like, and by the way, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, the Pacers win. I'm definitely not doing that. I'm just saying I hate that we don't know how it kind of could have played out,
Yeah,
especially since he
absolutely.
started hot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
And listen, again, you know,
they were the best team.
They were the best team. We talked about it the whole time. And then, you know, I'm not on like the karma is a bitch train here, but it was tough for Pacers fans to admit last year that they got a lot of help from injuries. And, you know, the Achilles bug comes for everybody. Is there more Achilles injuries now than there were when we were a kid?
Yes.
Like it feels like
it.
It feels like there's certainly in football, the ACL thing happened and everybody was blaming turf and stuff like that. I don't want to blame Kobe Bryant for this because I actually agreed with him. He went to the low top sneaker. He was the first guy that like okayed the low top basketball sneaker. And I was here for it because I was always like the high top basketball sneaker is a little bit too constrictive for me. But it feels like, I don't know. We'll have to have a scientist or somebody dig in. Are there more Achilles injuries now that the Achilles area of these basketball players is exposed more often? I don't know. We'll get to on the next Dirty Sports Investigates Sports Science.
Well, it sure seems like it.
I felt like it was always knees when we were a kid, right?
It was always knees.
Knees and feet. And now it's like Achilles. Every day somebody's tearing their Achilles.
And they're on plays like that.
Yeah.
These no contact, a weird movement, or something just doesn't go right in your body.
Also, I mean, there's a chance when we joke about it all the time. 80s basketball looks like slow motion compared to this now. It's like maybe the fast twitch muscles are being twitched too fast at this point. Like our athletes now like outperforming their own bodies.
That's an interesting
Meanwhile, LeBron James' Achilles are like, we're fine.
And you said
we're the Asian ladies of Achilles. We'll live to be 100.
Well, look, at the end of the day, like we said, they were the best team in the league this year by far. And they won and they put together a great roster and they built from the bottom up, and they have the MVP, whether he deserved it or not is another debate, which obviously we've had. But regardless, they had the MVP on their team. He wins the Finals MVP, and Oklahoma City Thunder.
It's hard to make an argument, and you and I have talked about it a lot all the years. LeBron James should have won and didn't win. All the years Michael Jordan should have won and didn't win. It's hard to argue against the MVP of a league when that guy goes on to be the MVP of the NBA Finals. It's like, well, okay. Best team, best player. I know Jokic was great this year and maybe more deserving, but when you look back in history, it's tough to look back in sports history books and see that guy was the MVP of the league that year. That guy was the MVP of the finals, and not be like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, I'm gonna play a call about SGA.
What's up, Joe? This is Derek Dieter coming in today.
Real quick, he claiming his name. I don't know if you're trying to troll. Derek Dieter.
Mm-hmm.
Is this real? Is your name really Derek Dieter, not Jeter? Dieter?
If your name's Derek Dieter, it's everything then you are everything Yankee fans want you to believe Derek Jeter was, and that's Derek Jeter with D.
I got a quick question for you as I'm sitting here watching the end of Game 5 of the finals. Who do you think is going to have the better career, SGA or Kobe? I mean, I don't. Do you even think SGA is going to get another MVP? I mean, I think once people figure out how to stop fouling him, whatever the fuck it is, I don't think he's going to be that good. I don't think he's going to be don't think we're gonna remember him here. Sorry, I'm fucked up. I don't think we're gonna remember him. Like Kevin.
Dude, he's talking like you're moving to the hole like Jeter. You're so slow, my man.
Yeah, this is. I've had 2 coffees and a matcha already today, and Derek here is the opposite of how I'm feeling. I'm like shaking with caffeine. Did Derek record this hanging upside down like a bat? Like, why is he? Are you okay, Derek?
Yeah, let's see if we can try to get through
At
this.
the end, tell us what hole they're keeping you in.
Durant or Giannis or Chris Paul. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is he that good? I don't know. Is he going to be better than Kobe? Is he going to get as many titles? I don't know. What do you guys think?
All right. Well, here's
A lot of different people were asked to compare him to there. Like, you and I are not the world's biggest Kobe Bryant fans, but he's a 2-time MVP. He had 5 titles. Obviously, Shaq dragged him to 3 of those. So
2-time Finals MVP, 1-time regular season MVP.
yeah, it's easy to wager on anybody ever that they're not going to win 5 titles.
He's not winning 5 titles.
Jokic isn't winning 5 titles.
Yeah.
Giannis is one of it. LeBron James has 4. Will not probably win 5 titles. So yeah, he's not going to win as many titles as Kobe. And then randomly he's like Giannis, Chris Paul. I'm like, well, Chris Paul didn't win an MVP or a title. I know Chris Paul has stockpiled a lot of assists and is one of the greatest point guards of all time, but SGA's peak is already above Chris Paul's peak, right? He's the league MVP and the finals MVP. 2 things Chris Paul wasn't able. Chris Paul doesn't have a title as a guy on the team. So his peak is already above a guy like Chris Paul.
I mean, here's the thing too. Here's the thing.
Very, very similar to Giannis. Like, Giannis will be good for a long time, but Giannis has an MVP and a finals MVP. And I think we're looking at some of the great players of this era.
Well, also too, man, like the Kobe, we've talked about it. Like the Kobe marketing train is real.
Right.
And that's a huge part of his mystique and his career and just all the legacy, all that stuff. Kobe was hyped since day one. You could argue SGA is one of the least hyped stars I've ever seen, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
He's not an outspoken guy. It's like he just goes, he's like a Tim Duncan guard.
Yeah.
As far as he just does his thing.
Man.
What's that?
Canadians.
I don't think Duncan's Canadian.
No, I'm just saying.
But yeah. No, exactly. He's not. He just goes to work and he's obviously great at it. And look, he's having a great career so far, and he's still young. Now, look, they have potential. They have I think they're one of the youngest rosters. Yeah,
but also even with that, you're never going to have those dynasties that they had, like the Lakers, what the Lakers were able to do with Shaq, what, even Golden State was able to do, or the Bulls were able to do, because now we have these apron levels for the salary cap. I mean, again, look at what did I say from the start of this year to the end? And obviously not like Isaiah Hartenstein was finals MVP or anything like that, but I was like, those little role players are everything. And the Knicks lost Hartenstein because of salary cap issues, and Oklahoma City, being young, was able to get him. And it's those guys like that put a team over the top. But the Knicks didn't even get a title before they lost a major piece of their team for financial reasons. And as good and young as Oklahoma City is, Chet's going to come up for a contract. A guy like Caruso, who the Lakers had to move, those kind of guys for Oklahoma City are going to move on, unless some of those guys decide to take less money just to stay with a team that could win. But like, as young as Oklahoma City is and as good as SGA is, I think you have to say, like, you're probably maxing out at 3. And even that's probably a stretch with the financial constrictions of the NBA today. So, yeah, comparing to, we're both Kobe truthers at this point. I think Kobe's more in the top 10 to 15 instead of the top 3 players of all time, like some ludicrous people say. But like betting on a guy in the league to finish in the top 15 players of all time it's a bet.
Tough ask.
Yeah, it's a tough ask.
It's a tough ask.
Now there was a kid at Fanatics Fest who was walking around with a sign that said, "Give me your hot take." And people would go on camera and give a hot take. Now I was working, so I couldn't do it. But my nephew came yesterday and I was like, "You got a hot take for him?" And he's like, "I got a hot take." And I was like, "What's your hot take?" And he goes on camera and the guy's like, "All right, what's your hot take?" And my 12-year-old nephew or whatever goes, "If Peyton Manning was on the Belichick Patriots, he'd have 10 Super Bowls." And I was like, I've never been so proud of my nephew. Like,
yeah, you probably paid him to do that.
I didn't pay him to do shit. I was like, "You got a hot take?" I was like, and he's like,
"Well, you didn't pay him, but that's all coming from you."
Listen, I don't know. I don't know if it's coming from Mikey via me or something like that, but I don't sit down a lot and like feed my nephew hot takes.
I never got that take though, by the way.
Okay.
Because Tom Brady won 6. And Peyton Manning had some bad playoffs, man. Yeah, he didn't have the defenses for sure. But like it's some bad playoffs.
Well, we talk about it with LeBron James all the time. Remember, the GOAT, Tom Brady, went down, and Matt Castle, who couldn't start in college, came in and won 10 games. And then Peyton Manning went out, and the Colts didn't win a single football game. Or won one football game.
Okay, Joe Burrow goes out and they go 4-3 with fucking Jake from State Farm Browning. You think he's on Burrow's level?
4-3. 4-3. Matt Castle went 11-5 or whatever.
I know, but my point was
start in college. He didn't start in college. He wasn't good enough to play in college.
Well, I mean, he also went to SC and they were just like loaded. It wasn't like he wasn't like a 5-star recruit. I don't know if he was a 5-star if they even had that back then. But my point is, it wasn't like he wasn't a top recruit.
Belichick was like, not only am I going to win with a backup, I'm going to win with a college backup.
But I think that's more. My argument on that has always been that's more of a credit to the Belichick and the Patriots.
Exactly the point.
But look, and I don't want to go too far down this.
Listen, also, it was
Brady went to the Bucs and won a title, dude. Like, what are we talking about here?
Also, get Deuce on here to give the hot take. I'm just passing along the hot take.
And I'll look at Deuce and I'll say that's cool. Brady, and a 43-year-old Brady, goes to the Bucs, and he wins the Super Bowl. Like Manning got benched the year they won the Super Bowl. Like what are we like? That's insane to me. That's not to discredit Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's an all-time quarterback, but it's just like, you know me. I'm gonna defend Brady. I'm a Brady guy.
Well, he needs you to defend him because he's now built like a 105-year-old Asian woman. So he's gonna need all the defense he can get. He needs his old Patriots offensive lines to help him get through crowds so he doesn't break a hip.
Is he trying to get down to Giselle's runway modeling weight?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's trying to pick his own jiu-jitsu art trainer up.
Oh, man.
But did you hear it? Now we can pivot into Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was on a panel at Fanatics Fest when he found out he was traded. They were just like,
speaking of hot takes, you want to hear a hot take on Durant?
Sure.
Well, first of all, these trades, what is Kevin Durant worth at this point, guys? I don't know. That's a hot take. It's
apparently 4 second rounders, Dylan Brooks and whatever.
Well, my point is this. No, it's more than that. Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, 2025 first rounder, which is a top 10 pick, number 10. Okay. And 5 second rounders. That's a pretty big haul, dude.
It's a pretty big haul, but it's not 5 first rounders for Mikal Bridges. It's not who just got traded the other day for 6 first rounders and
look, my
but it's all again, we come back to the conversation. It's all about finances. Like the Suns don't trade Kevin Durant right now if he was making $20 million a year. And the Suns don't trade Kevin Durant if Devin Booker or Bradley Beal were making $20 million a year, but you can't build a team around aging Kevin Durant washed Bradley Beal and Devin Booker when each of them are getting $53 million a season, and the second level of the apron is $3 million less than the 3 guys you're paying. The basketball team, you play 9 guys in a game.
No, I get that, but like Kevin
But
Durant,
they're not winning a title with those 3 guys, me and you and my nephew and Tom Brady's trainer.
So here's my take on these guys that just jump teams. Then you're just not valued. Like that's my quote unquote hot take. And people might say that's a shit take. My take is, dude, if you're that good, they'd want to keep you.
Well, listen, Kevin Durant has moved a lot now, but not
all those guys, that whole trio, him, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, that whole Oklahoma City trio is just like they're all team hopping at this point. They have been for years.
But Kevin Durant very easily could have been on the Thunder and the Warriors, and that would be his career. But he has psychological problems and couldn't handle the fact that everybody was like, "You're a bitch for going to the Warriors,"
and he was.
Oh, sure, and he was, but like, he couldn't.
But I agree. Why didn't he just?
That.
Sorry, why didn't he just stay?
Because he didn't like hearing that, and he told you that by replying to every single person on Twitter via a burner account.
But what are you
entitled at KD isn't a bitch?
Don't you think? Because hindsight's 2020. But don't you think, looking back, he would say, it's actually, and because I'm that guy saying it now, like it actually makes you look worse now, man. This is team number 5. It makes you look worse that you're going from team to team and they're not getting better.
Yeah,
they're actually getting worse. And I'm not putting that all on Kevin Durant because it's a team game and it's roster building and there's a lot of components. What I'm saying is you do look worse. You go to the most winning team ever, the 73 win Warriors, right?
And then now, for 2 years, you're dominant.
It was a bitch move, but you were the best player and you were the finals MVP. So exactly, like that's my thing. And then you just trailed off as far as team success. It's here's what I'm saying. Their title odds, Houston's title odds greatly increased, from a betting standpoint. And in my head, I'm just going, dude, you're an old Kevin Durant who's going to put up 25 points a game, 26 points a game. I just, like, what is your value is my question.
Well, here's the reason that it was a great move for the Rockets, regardless of what you think they gave up, because they really didn't give up that much compared to what some teams have given up to acquire a star recently. But the Rockets were the second best team in the West last year. And come playoff time, they just didn't have a guy who they could give the ball to and score down the stretch. And that's, if there's anything Kevin Durant has done, can do, will be able to do forever, it's get a bucket down the stretch. So I don't think that they need him to come in and, be the MVP, because they just need to be the team they were last year and have a guy who can get clutch buckets. Now, obviously they gave up players who helped them do that, but I think we all agree with the way they performed in the playoffs this year. If you're Houston and you're the 2 seed, you can't just run it back because you didn't even make it out of the first round. So
yeah, you can't run it back.
And he's going to sell tickets, and he wants to be there, and he went to Texas, and they're going to make this a thing. And I think it's a win for everybody in a sense. I don't think it makes them a like any sort of favorite to win the title, but it helps them. Vegas agrees with that. It helps them.
Has Russell Westbrook played for Houston at some point?
Yes, he has.
I mean, it's hilarious. That's what I'm saying. The OKC trio has all played for the Rockets. They're just recycling that
you just need Kevin Durant also to go to the Clippers at some point.
Can we get Kendrick Perkins off of air? Can he come?
Bro, have you seen Kendrick Perkins not behind a desk lately? I don't think it's possible for Kendrick Perkins to play in the NBA anymore, because he'd always be a 3-second violation. I think it's impossible for him to stand on the court and not partially be in the lane.
Can we talk about this finals crew? Like, what ESPN is I just leave, like, I'm scratching my head. I watch this shit. I'm like, you put together, first of all, Kendrick Perkins is not good for television. He's just not. He's too monotone. He's not, he doesn't have charisma. You got Bob Myers. Okay, cool. The guy who's the architect, just the architect of the Warriors. Cool. That's a great resume thing. I don't give a fuck about you on TV. You have Stephen A. Smith, who's literally playing solitaire.
Yeah, at the games.
And obviously you have the host, Malika Andrews. But my point is, dude, this is their crew. That's insane if you think about it. This is their finals crew. I can't believe the NBA or Adam Silver did maybe interject, or maybe hopefully they will after this season. Be like, guys, this can't be the crew you're running out.
Which is funny because, like, I think it was last year or maybe the year before. I think it was last year after the Knicks got, eliminated. They brought in Josh Hart. And Josh Hart was pretty great. He was definitely like finding himself. And they've done that the last couple of years. They've taken guys who were just out of the playoffs and like added them as like somebody who, it was just participating in the basketball that you're watching. Unlike Stephen A. Smith, who has not participated in basketball since high school, where he scored 0.4 points a game. It was 0.6.
I just don't know why they're running these people out there.
Honestly, also at halftime last night when they showed the actual broadcast team, and they like Doris Burke is not looking good these days either. And me, I'm a Doris defender.
Well, I mean, even that crew, they say it's not going to last. It's just, dude, I don't care. I'm going to say it. You guys, everybody hemmed and hawed about Breen, Jackson, and Van Gundy. They're a million times better than this trio right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, they are. They're a million times better than Richard Jefferson and Doris Burke and Mike Breen.
And I wish it was still Breen, Jackson, and Van Gundy, just because then those guys would have a job and wouldn't be in consideration to be the next Knicks head coach. I cannot, I'm scared that today James Dolan is doing some interviews for Knicks head coaching jobs, which include Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson, and Doris Burke. Doris Burke will also be interviewing to be the head coach of the New York Knicks.
What Doris Burke's dick?
Yeah.
Dirty Sports throwback.
We got I said it the other day, we got a Ruther throwback on Twitter. We got an old school Andy Ruther.
Old school Andy Ruther is back, baby.
Old school Andy Ruther was like when the whole world was talking about something, Andy would belittle it by somehow making a Taco Bell diarrhea joke.
Well, it wasn't Taco Bell. I had 20 wings the other day.
Okay. But you made it a Taco Bell joke.
Oh, dude. It was definitely a nuclear bomb in the toilet. Like, which got me
one of the biggest, one of the greatest we've ever had.
Oh, it was. It was impressive. So my question is, this would be something for you, actually. We ordered wings. And Brittany's brother, let's just call it basically my brother-in-law, was just like bombed. They have a pool. It's just bombed.
Is that not your brother-in-law? I guess technically not, right?
Technically not.
Okay.
So anyway, so like he's drinking and he's hitting the vape pen. So he's like, we're there all day. He's got 2 little kids. I got 2 little kids. So he's feeling good. And her dad was like, let's order some wings for dinner. Like, why don't you guys stick around? I'll order some wings. And there's not that many, the adults, there's only 6 adults and his wife doesn't like wings. So now you're down to 5 adults.
Okay.
So he orders, so of the 5 adults, 2 are women.
Okay.
We don't know what happened. Her dad's just like, order them, I'll pay for it. He orders 100 wings. And
wow. I was going to say 60 wings, but like 100.
And we couldn't stop making jokes.
Tom Brady would have that in his freezer for 2 years.
I was like, dude, you ordered up for 5 adults. And again, 2 of them are women.
That's a real Ann Prano move right there. Just being like, I don't know, get 100.
Yeah. So he orders 100. And
now I know what happens. Now Andy feels some sort of pressure. So he eats 25 wings.
Well, so that's what happened. So me and him, he's like, neither of us had really eaten that much that day besides like snacking at their pool. And I was like, dude, I'm starving. And I had done my little beach workout in their neighborhood, like a psychopath when it's like 1,000,000 degrees here now. Anyway, he's like, well, let's just pull down a bunch. He's like, there's 100. So him and I, we cut ourselves off at 20. And I said to him, I go, and I still took some home. But my point was like to you, my question to you was like, how many, if you were hungry, the truth is I was full, but I didn't feel like I overate, which I wanted to do that. I didn't want to go home and say, oh, like you feel disgusting. I didn't feel disgusting at 20 wings. Like, how many do you think you could eat in one sitting to where you get to that point of like, if you were hungry?
Of feeling just got like where I tap out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like if I did some sort of wing challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely not 30 wings. It's probably between 20 and 30 wings. If you were like, eat as many wings as you can.
Yeah.
If I was hungry, I'm not eating 30 wings. That's a lot of wings.
It's a lot of wings.
Yeah. Now, obviously, there's a lot of different wing sizes across the board, but if we're talking about some plump, meaty wings, I'm not eating 30 wings, man. That's, I'm not trying to break a record or anything.
And the truth is, I've never seen anybody ever order 100 wings for like a small gathering.
Yeah.
Ever. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, I couldn't stop laughing. Like, you ordered 100 fucking wings. Who literally does that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, because there's 4 kids. Well, guess what?
I'm just thinking about 100. Like, what kind of celery and carrot situation you getting? You get
you
like
should have
70
seen how
things of
many.
ranch.
Brandon, you should have seen how many things of blue cheese and ranch and celery and carrots. I was like, dude, it's not even just the wings. Do you see how much shit they gave us? And like, I'm a big celery into the blue cheese. And I'm like, I'm doing that on top of that. I was like, I'm dipping. And then they got some stuff for the kids. And I was like, I want to see how these chicken tendies taste and these fries. So
This guy's got 100 wings and he's dipping into the tenders. Can we leave the tendies for the kids, man?
I dipped into the tendies. They had popsicles. Fuck those kids, man. Oh, so yeah, that was basically what prompted the nuclear bomb dump, in case you wanted to know. And I knew
A lot of people said I couldn't eat 30 wings. I did.
I did. I could have.
Huge.
I'm into that garlic parmesan now, man.
That was the question. Where were the wings ordered from? Did you eat like 30 Wingstop wings or something?
It was Wings and Rings, which is a chain around here.
Wings and Rings is wings and onion rings.
I don't even know their history. Like I don't know what states
I'm assuming that's what it is. Or is it like the Tom Brady wing chain? Wings and Rings.
Well, wait, why do they have?
I'm assuming it's onion rings. I like that you're Googling it though.
Well, now I'm curious.
Now I need to get to the bottom of this.
You know me, I always have to Google. Well, shit, dude. They got here's a fun fact. 61 in the US, 24 internet. Who knew?
Wow.
Buffalo Wings and Rings has some in the Middle East.
Or is it maybe like a Lord of the Rings themed wing spot?
It's pretty good. But
Okay.
but to answer your question, yeah, it was like normal, like a Wingstop type place.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. He was so hammered. Her mom went to get it. He sent her to the wrong. There's like a couple locations. He sent her the wrong location. She showed up to the one and called back. I was like, they're saying this isn't here.
Imagine the guy walks in. I'm here for my 100 wings. They're like, is this a TikTok thing? Are you about to give them to homeless people? What's going on?
There's a TikTok video.
What's that?
You give a homeless guy 100 wings and you say, how many of these can you eat?
Yeah.
I'm filming.
Well, there's that guy who goes in. You've seen him. He goes in and he'll be like, how much is a cheeseburger? And they're like $6. And he's like, can you make me 1,000 of them? And the guy will be like, what? And he's like, I just need 1,000 burgers. And they're like, we could do like 600. And he's like, great. And then he goes and he hands them out to like homeless people or takes them to the homeless shelter and stuff like that.
That's
but yeah,
good.
wings isn't the kind of food you want to give somebody who lives on the street.
A lot of wet wipes, bro.
Yeah.
Like you gotta be coming prepared. How many wings do you think Kevin Durant? Who's skinnier now, Kevin Durant or Tom Brady?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Who could eat more wings, Kevin Durant or Tom Brady?
No way Tom Brady eats wings, right?
No way.
No.
Like cauliflower wings or some bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Kevin Durant definitely eats wings.
So looking ahead, you have the Halliburton injury,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to be very serious for them next year.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help my my little bet with you on the 30-pack of Miller Lite.
And Jason Tatum also out.
That's what I'm saying. You Jason Tatum out, not looking good. You have the Thunder, who are the odds-on favorites again. West is competitive.
I'll worry about the West in the NBA Finals. I'm worried about the East right now.
Do they know on Halliburton? Is it a torn Achilles?
I don't. I actually was trying to figure that out right before the show. I don't think there's been an official statement.
He's gone for the
torn Achilles.
So he's gone for the year, right?
Great to have a producer here, Andy. I'm not in the shed. Got a producer chime in. Torn Achilles.
That's amazing. So okay, so torn Achilles. I mean, is he gone for the year then?
Yeah, I mean, unless he Aaron Rodgers it, and let's not forget Aaron Rodgers was gone for the year, even though he pretended that he was going to come back in 3 months because his Achilles was stronger because he wasn't vaxxed.
Throwing an Aaron Rodgers dig. I'll tell you what. I tell you what. I'm buying in. I told Justin this.
You're buying. Don't tell me you're buying in on the Steelers.
No, here's what I told him. I'm not buying in that they like make a deep run.
Yeah.
He didn't want to hear it. I go, I'm buying in that they finish ahead of the Bengals.
Wow.
He's like, the Bengals are going to be third. I said, the Bengals are going to be third in that division.
You're just locked into the Ravens for sure being one.
I'm locked into the Ravens, and I said it's not even like, oh, Rodgers is taking the Super Bowl. I go, this is what it is. Is he not a better version of Russell Wilson? Yeah.
Well, sure. Yeah.
Is he not going to throw reckless interceptions like Wilson will do? Yeah. Okay. So they got to sign Watt, and I said I just think they'll probably be around the same wins. And I think so were the Bengals. So they finished a game ahead of the Bengals last year. It's not like a crazy prediction.
Listen. I'll say one thing. Just if we're just gonna do the trigger Justin segment of the week, Aaron Rodgers is hitting one of those targets in the first 3 baseballs. Like he's not throwing 14 baseballs off the left side of the batting cage.
Justin didn't even flinch, and I said, "Are you scared at all that you bet me $100 the Bengals will win that division?" He's like, "Not a bit." I was like, "Dude, you know the Ravens' odds are old. They just signed Jair Alexander, which isn't like the biggest sign, but it's a nice sign." I was like, "Their roster's just better, man." That's fine. Look, I could be proven wrong.
We can all agree on something. The Browns are finishing 4th. Like that's happening.
I think it's happening unless
they run the 2 quarterback,
4 quarterbacks
spread option. Yeah. Honestly, that's what they should do. Is they should go with like you ever seen like an elite flag football team? They're like they throw the ball like 5 times in the backfield before they throw it downfield. Like quarterbacks or crisscross the snap, fake, pass it to each other. It should just be Shedeur Sanders throwing to whoever else they drafted. Gabriel, I forget his fucking name.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett. Hell, get Deshaun Watson in there.
Yeah, it's insane what they're doing. We're talking NFL. I was saving this for you. This video dropped last week. Prano's gonna love this. Darren Waller dropped a rap video. I thought he was doing other stuff before, but now we have a rap video.
They got the beam on me. Okay. Playing defense, trying to drop a scheme for me. What you mean I ain't the one? Every time I ran around, they had the whole fucking team on me. Shorty know I got it, I just act broke. They was hating till I dropped it, gotta act woke. Money well invested, they never see the racks poking. Listen close, all you hear is facts spoken. Somebody documented. Only rapper they believe, that's why they rocking with it. I'm upstanding. Been trying to understand it, but I could never sacrifice the music for the brand. And them jackets gotta catch me on the move like it's a candid. I'm chunking up the deuce, flying with the roof abandoned. They love to see me slip, had to switch up how I'm standing. I'm bringing home the chip, easy money like Durant on the pull-up. What we doing? Top pay, gotta put this shit on Sports Center. We gon' stick a fork in them, get it done. We not fazed, they don't wanna go to war. Niggas jumping off the porch, try and get them one. The block crazy, make me wanna get the Glock and keep it all safe.
How much of this song are we playing?
We're gonna stop there. I love that he's in front of
just his car in front of the stadium. Like, was that even a permitted shoot, or did he just pull in and he was like, "Well, I live in Vegas and I play for the Raiders. What if we do it at Allegiant?" And they were like, "Sir, this part of the parking lot's not open. You're gonna have to go to the other side. He's like, okay, but I can film in lot D. And they're like, yeah, you can film in lot D.
And I love
I'll say the song wasn't that bad. Like, it wasn't that good, but it wasn't. So many of these guys put out terrible rap songs. I'll tell you what, that Darren Waller rap song was better than Darren Waller, the football player, when he was on the Giants.
Well, what I'm laughing at is he had like 2 good years.
Yeah.
The way the lyrics were getting me. But you didn't come close. First of all, he said chip it. You didn't come close to it. Did you even win a playoff game ever? No. I don't think you won a playoff game, man. It's about the whole team covering you. Now, look, anything's better than your ex Kelsey Plum doing the popcorn.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the bar.
I mean, cringiest couple in sports history. Darren Waller and Kelsey Plum.
Did you see that video recently of somebody asking for her autograph, and she was like in the street. They were like going to the team bus, and some dudes were like waiting to get their autograph, and she's like, "This is weird." She had that look. She's like, "This is weird." She's like, "I guess I'll sign it." And people were like, "Well, shouldn't you be happy? Like, fans are legit." Like,
yeah.
She goes, "This is so weird." Like, have you never seen an athlete like in public? People were always asking for signing autographs. This is weird. They got popcorn on the bus?
Yeah.
Yeah, they might be the cringiest couple.
It literally looked like he got out of the car and just left the door open. I'm not even sure that was a setup shoot. Maybe that he just saw a camera and he was like, roll my music. There's just like one of those things where there's like a full-time camera on the stadium for Raiders fans. It's just like always live streaming on YouTube. He's like, perfect. I'll shoot my video here.
I always wonder with these guys, like, how much money are they just pissing away into their music?
Well, the good news for him, it was one camera and just his car in a parking lot. So it's not like there wasn't 20 different locations for that. There's no dancing girls, no popping bottles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking up. Yeah, he played 8 years. He 2 good years. 2019, 2020, 2 years where he caught 90 to 107 balls.
He was pretty nasty those 2 years.
No, it was. He, over 1,100 yards, almost 1,200 yards back-to-back year. Like, he was great. And you're right. Then he went to your Giants.
It was fucking terrible.
But he dropped off even before that.
Yeah. He got hurt.
Look, I'm not trying to like completely ruin the guy because I know he's battled a lot. Like,
he had to date her for a while. And
I mean, you always worse. His drug and alcohol addiction, his mental health, or dating her.
He had to play for the Raiders.
How do you think they met?
Cringe Tinder.
What's that?
Cringe Tinder. This is the Tinder for cringy people. Cringer.
Do you think she when they went to the movie theater, she ate popcorn like that when they were watching the movies?
Just aside. And he's like, "Oh, they're projecting it up on the screen. I'm just gonna do my video right here."
Oh man, unbelievable. We do have another call about the Lakers. And I want to hear your perspective because obviously they sold the team, the majority. And that's what the call is about. And I talked about it.
Oh, right. Did you guys talk about that on the last episode? That my boss is now a billionaire.
Yeah, I did like 15 minutes solo talking about it, and I was like, for me, my take was, I get it. But there's a part of me as somebody who lived in LA. I said it's bittersweet. I love what the Buss family associated with the Lakers. I always loved, and obviously what Jerry Buss's his impact. And I said this right, not just you, and you agree, not just on the Lakers, like on the NBA.
Yeah,
I said he deserves a statue.
Just like couple chicks on his arms.
yeah. I mean, yeah, do a couple, but like the impact he had So we have a call about like the future.
And that deal's done, right? That's official.
Basically done, yeah. So, yeah, man.
That's crazy. I mean, I've been out of town since even that was announced and stuff. I'm gonna have to get back and talk to Jay, and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, Jay, can we get an exclusive with your wife?"
Well, Jeannie's gonna
stay on as president,
the governor, whatever.
Governor.
I never know.
Right.
For a bit, and they will still own 18%.
Okay.
The Bus family.
Now, did you dive into like because they owned 66% or something like that before, right? They own like 2/3 of the team between them, and now so basically I think there's 6 of them. So they went from basically each owning like 11% of the team to each owning like 3% of the team, but also made $1 billion a piece.
Yeah. So I didn't dive into their family dynamic, but I dove into like, what's his owner? The Walter's the new owner.
Yeah.
Who had a big chunk as well.
That's what I'm saying. I think he owned the rest. He owned the other third before.
And he's with the Guggenheim Group, who owns the Doyers. All right, so here's a quick call on it.
Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Hunter from Michigan. I'm sure you guys are going to talk all the ins and outs of the sale of the Los Angeles Lakers, but I would love a prediction for what the future of the Los Angeles Lakers is going to be. Obviously, Mark Walters is seeing a lot of success with the Dodgers. And so you got to think that if he's going to buy this team, he's going to come in and he's going to want to win. Same time, though, this isn't baseball. There's a salary cap. You can't just spend more than absolutely everyone else and win. So I'm curious to see what your guys' thoughts are on the future of the Lakers. Thanks. Comments are always for Derek Jeter. Peace.
Wait, for Derek Jeter or Derek Dieter?
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to say to predict the future of any basketball team at this point. Like, obviously the Lakers are built around Luka. They still have LeBron. As much as I love LeBron, you're probably not building a championship team in the final years of like the Luka LeBron. It's probably a little LeBron swan song. I wouldn't be surprised if this is his last year. So it's going to be all around Luka. And then there's a big question mark about, obviously we all agree that the Mavs getting rid of Luka was insane, but there are question marks as to Luka's conditioning and Luka this, Luka that is, not the worst situation to be in, to be tied to Luka for the next 10 years or whatever. But you also have to surround him with talent, and it's going to, obviously LeBron leaving is going to free up some cash because the NBA finances are different than they were just 5 years ago. And you got to get lucky in the draft. You got to, spend that money wisely. But we're a year removed from Luka making the NBA finals. So I imagine, and also the Lakers have gone through a lot of different variations, and they've always had success.
So that's my thing.
People want to play for the Lakers. I think most of the guys that built the team from a, like under the executive level, but like the team builders of the Lakers, they're not going anywhere. So, it's just going to be surrounding Luka with talent.
I mean, look, they've never, since Jerry Buss bought the team, they've never gone more than 12 years without winning a title, guys. They've won 11 titles since 1980, more than any other team by far. It's like you're saying, even in these down times, they're the only organization where you're like, oh, like the end of Kobe in the first few Kobe years, prime example, or the post Shaq years, where they're down for like 3 or 4 years, and then suddenly they're competing for a title.
Yeah,
like it's just,
now the counterpoint of that is, you say in the Buss years, but obviously Jerry's been gone for a while, and so it shouldn't be that hard for somebody else to replicate what I don't think you'll ever get another run. Like, 1980 was 45 years ago. I don't think they'll have 11 titles in the next 45 years, but I think they'll have some titles.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I had to bet on a title in the Luka era, I'd bet on a title.
Well, look, you can get paid anywhere, obviously, with the max deals. But if you're a young kid, where you want to live, man, the girls, the beach, the weather, it's like Hollywood. I mean, there's a lot of appeal. The history. I do think that helps play a role for some of these squads. I do. I think guys know, hey, I'm going to an established organization. I mean, the Laker brand is again, biggest sale ever.
It's how LeBron James ended up there. It's how
exactly. It's the
Shaq
biggest sale
ended up
ever.
there. Yeah.
Like you are what you're valued at. That's the truth. You are. So it's kind of like last episode. I went on a big spiel about I went down basically listing the top 10 highest valued sales, and 6 of them were NBA teams. And my point.
Interesting. They haven't gone broke, you say?
Well, that was my point was exactly that. I said, look, you are what you're valued at, and it's like the value is there. You just can't deny it.
Yeah, because we've talked about it a million times. Being, young kids being into it, it being a social media league, it being global,
I mean, look, me personally. Now, you grew up in New York, like a kid who grew up in Cincinnati. That'd be the team I'd ever want to play for.
Yeah. Listen, I was at Fanatics Fest all weekend. There's a lot of people dressed up as wrestlers. There's a lot of people in different sports jerseys. A lot of Mets fans, a lot of Yankees fans, a lot of Knicks fans. Obviously, we're in New York, but people were coming from everywhere. A lot of Lakers jerseys. A lot of Lakers jerseys. Kobe jerseys, LeBron jerseys, Magic Johnson jerseys. There's Lakers fans everywhere. And yeah, I don't see the Lakers as a franchise really shifting a whole lot. I think that's why somebody spends $10 billion to buy a team, is because they know exactly what they're getting. We're buying the Lakers. We're not buying this team to rejuvenate some distressed asset. They're we're buying a sure thing. The Lakers are about as sure a thing as you can get in sports.
Yeah, this isn't buying the Mavericks and basically doing a whole makeover.
I mean, even you look at the teams that are dynasties in our lifetime, the Lakers are a more sure thing than buying the Patriots, who only have had success in the one era with the coach quarterback. The Lakers have.
I'd argue the Lakers and the Yankees, but even the Yankees have shut off, have been the surest things in our lifetime.
Yeah.
100%. Now he didn't, so they're valued at $10 billion since he already owned shares. I don't know what he actually had to pay to buy them out as far as the actual cash value.
Well, if they're valued at $10 billion and he bought, if they go down to what you say, they own how much of the team?
18%.
18%. So it sounds like he bought another 50% of the team. So he probably spent $5 billion.
And I think, Magic's a part of that. So I'm assuming we'll get some great tweets on it.
Yeah.
Maybe Magic can break down the financials. Can you imagine Magic going on Shark Tank? To be the lamest presentation ever.
Oh, Magic going on as somebody's trying to sell the Sharks?
Yeah, Magic pitching.
You don't mean as a shark?
Both, but I was talking Magic pitching to the Sharks.
Magic pitching Magic Johnson theaters again. He's trying to bring the movies back. They're and Mark Cuban's just no one goes to the movies anymore, and for that reason, I'm out. I was just okay. I'd like to see Magic as a shark.
He'd just be smiling the whole time,
just buying into really terrible things.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't say no.
Yeah.
Magic would buy into every single pitch.
Also, Magic's got to believe anything is Magic got AIDS in the 90s and he's still alive. He's ready to buy into whatever you've got.
Yeah, I always say he's the person. He's
sorry, he got HIV in the 90s. Never actually got AIDS, which is also.
Yeah, but he got fatter. Everyone got skinny and then they died. He's yo, dude, I'm beefing up. I'm beefing up on this HIV.
I'm like, does Magic have HIV or does Tom Brady have HIV? Because at this point, I'm
Well,
confused.
maybe Tom Brady should get the Magic strain, beef up a little.
Yeah.
You can get that Magic cocktail.
Tom Brady's like, Magic, what are you eating? He's like, mostly movie theater hot dogs, buttered popcorn.
I just, Kelsey, she doesn't eat the popcorn, so I just take her. She cosplay eats, and
I sit behind her when she throws it over her shoulder. It goes right into my mouth.
I'll say this about the Lakers in the future. So here they won a title in 2020. Give me another 5 years. I bet the Lakers win a title in the next 5 years.
Lakers title before 2030.
Or by 2030.
Okay.
If I had to bet on it. You do have Luka. That's the point. You build around. They just get the stars, man. Our whole lives. That's all they do. They just build up. I'm trying to think, was there anything else that we wanted to cover? I think we mostly covered it all.
It's great. Gives me some time to relax for the first time in New York and go out before I head to the Mets game tonight. Mets Braves. We don't have to talk baseball today. We can talk it, but the Mets are spiraling. It's a nightmare. But also, they're still a game out of first place, so it's not like a sinking ship or anything.
Well, and we're still what? Are we halfway through?
We're coming up on All-Star break. Will be early July, right? It's technically what we consider the middle of baseball season, so we're just about there.
Is it hot as shit there too?
Unbelievably hot as shit.
It's insane.
It's insane.
Like, you got like the 90s and like humidity that you hate?
Yeah. And then I'm like taking the subway around. And like, I didn't bring enough underwear because I get changed 3 times a day. So I'm going to get some boxer briefs on the way back to my hotel.
Yeah. I know. Dealing with that here too. I'm like,
and I got, brought my fitted Mets hat to go to the game in. It's just like, don't be wearing wool hats around in 95-degree humidity.
No, I left the gym this morning and I said, I just showered there and you ever get angry? I got angry just walking to my car and I was just already covered. I was like, what the fuck, man? I just showered. I'm just covered walking to my, I'm like, people probably think I'm crazy. I'm like muttering to myself, like, wait, what is this? I'm like going like this, like, wait, I just showered. And I didn't run right out. So I let my body cool down. Like, what the fuck, man? So maybe go back in there and drop a nuclear bomb in the toilet.
Yeah. I was about to say, I have to get home. I have 70 leftover wings to eat.
No, I actually I crushed the rest last night.
Jesus.
I didn't have 7. I had to crush them before bed. I was like, these things beyond 24 hours. Right. Like, what's the cutoff for wings? 48 max.
Mm-hmm. When
you order them, I was like, I got to crush these. I'm going to regret this.
You reheat them in your air fryer?
Yeah, that's the move.
There you go.
But it was mostly
the invention of the air fryer extended wings shelf life by like 12 hours because you could crisp them up again.
Yeah, that's where
yeah, I've never actually used an air fryer except at your place. So,
oh, bro, when you have kids, it's like, bro, that's what basically I use it for now. Oh, what do you want? Mini corn dogs? What do you want? Like, Dino Nugs? What do you? I eat like Nick D'Alessandro. You want some Dons? What you want? Shout out to Nick, by the way. That's back-to-back episodes. We're gonna give him a shout out.
It was his birthday recently.
It was, but you got to listen.
His birthday.
Ryan, he hopped on. Ryan gave a nice little farewell. Ryan Klatz basically. I didn't realize that he's done.
As our correspondent.
Yeah, he's stepping away. He's like,
I'll come away.
He's like, I'll come in occasionally if you guys want something, but like, I wasn't expecting it, and he only said all these nice things, and like he's got a very good head on his shoulders as far as the history.
This is why
I said you have to come back when Joe's here, man. Like
no farewell tours. I like that Ryan Clatton. Not only does he not do farewell tours, he didn't even say goodbye to me. All right, see you later, Ryan.
I mean, he's got a great like he's one of those dirtballs who like he knows the shit. He's like I mean, he could be a dirty sports historian, basically. You know, you and I forget shit.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. Or we said that, or oh yeah, that was that part of my life. Wanted to do that. But yeah, he mentioned Nick. We were talking about McDonald's, and then what are the odds? Nick D'Alessandro hopped into YouTube.
Wow.
I don't even think he heard it. Like 30 minutes later, we had an appearance from the King of Dons.
Love it. Love it.
All right, guys, let's wrap this bad boy up. We do have a hotline. Let's pull this up. Where we got here? What is it? I have no
new
clue.
Number.
859-832-0478.
Give us a call, and you can follow me on all social media at Joe Prano. I'll be back in LA, or I'll be back in the shed on Thursday. So see you guys. But yeah, give a follow to all our stuff. And like I said, check out my Trackstar appearance, and host of the show, Jack, said to me right before I left him this morning, he goes, "You got to come on Dirty Sports sometime." And I was like, anytime, dude. Anytime. I walked into his studio this morning, and one of the other guys who was like working for him was like, "I love Dirty Sports." And I was like, yeah. And he's like, my reviews, when I tell people about it, he's like, "It's this guy, Joe. He's got hot takes. And there's this guy, Andy. He's got brain damage." And I was like, that about sums up our show.
Unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
That's how one of
Fire.
our fans is selling our shows to other people.
That's a diss. I'll let it
Oh,
slide.
it's not a diss. It's true. You do have brain damage.
Well, that's debatable.
Okay.
I mean,
You had brain damage at one point.
define damage. Yeah, I probably still do. They were debating if I was, I don't even want to go down this. The other day, people were like, "Dude, do you have Asperger's?" They're trying to claim I had Asperger's at Brittany's parents. Simply because I said I keep track of what I said, all I'm doing this summer, and they go, "That's weird." Everybody said that's weird. I said, I put the notes in my phone. I'm curious how many times I cut the grass this summer, and I just keep track, and I put the.
Oh yeah, that's Asperger's.
That's not Asperger's. I'm just curious. Nobody's curious. I'm just curious. I'm like,
and then I did the math on how many blades of grass there were per square foot, and I timed that by my yard. So I've figured out that I've cut over 6 million pieces of grass this summer.
I just want to know how many times from like March through whatever I cut the grass.
I just want to know how many leaves of grass I cut per summer.
All right, let's get out of here. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. We'll see you on Friday. And as always, stay dirty.